We are committed to creating a safe and supportive space for our guests and listeners, and to provide information and tools that will help our listeners understand, manage, and overcome trauma. We understand that the healing journey can bring up challenging emotions. Therefore, we want to warn our audience that certain episodes may contain discussions or stories that could be triggering for some individuals. The content of the podcast is for educational and informative purposes only, and we encourage you to practice self-care and discretion while listening, and to reach out to a trusted support system or professional if you feel overwhelmed and need help on your healing journey. So, James, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
How
of
are
course.
you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to have a good conversation. So, why don't you start off by telling us about you and what you do?
So, my name is James Capola. I've been in the fitness industry for over 17 years. I am a personal trainer. I've had every job in the gym business,
Mm.
from front desk to managing multiple gyms. And of course, the pandemic kind of forced our hand to go into work for ourselves because obviously there was a period of time where all the gyms were closed.
Mhm.
And it was the best thing that could have happened because it just let me and my wife kind of just do our own thing and market how we want to market and work with who we want to work with. And our message really became clear.
Yeah, yeah, great. So, I had mentioned before we started the podcast how I found you was on TikTok, and I
Mhm.
found you with your videos, and I love your videos because you focus a lot on you truly help people, and part of it is the bullying, the other part of it is the body shaming, and so I do want to kind of talk about those, and I know you've talked about a little bit about your history, and you've had weight issues, as have I, and coming from childhood abuse. My coping mechanism at a really young age was emotional eating. And
Got it.
so at 13 years old, I put on weight, and this may sound crazy, but I honestly didn't understand why I was putting on weight. I really
Hmm.
didn't. And I didn't realize at the time that it was emotional eating. It wasn't until I was an adult.
Sure.
And so because of that, through my healing process, my weight fluctuated a lot. And it's just over in the last probably about 3 or 4 years that I've really begun to have a different relationship with food and
That's
a
great.
different relationship with my body, and really appreciating everything it's done, because it's really been through a lot and it's really held up pretty well. I've had a lot of surgeries, but it's come through pretty good.
Hmm.
And so I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm able to better manage my weight. But the bullying I had, holy cow. Yeah, I had that a lot, especially when I was young.
Yeah, people are ruthless, especially when it comes to the body or habits. Either it's coming from a place of insecurity or it's what they were taught through their environment. And thank God I've grown to a point where I now have the wherewithal to know that no one in um, happy, positive headspace wants to make anyone feel inferior. So the worse they
True.
are, the better I feel because I know that, all right, well, you know what? I'm clearly doing better than you if you feel the need to put someone down.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah, and you're calling him out. You're actually calling him out on the videos, which I appreciate. You're also you had a video the other day. I don't know if you posted the other day, but I noticed it the other day about talking about the people that you've helped,
hmm,
and helping someone. I think one of them was she was able to wear shorts for the first time, and
yeah.
that
She was
kind of
able
stuff.
to go dress shopping,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, it was really powerful because she finally told me that for the first time, she didn't really care about what the scale said. Like
Hmm.
the weight is going down, but she's not watching it like a hawk. All of my clients who eventually get to the point of showing up to just improve their health and quality of life, and it's not just a taxing chore anymore.
Hmm.
They get the benefits and the results that they've been waiting for, but now it's not like waiting for water to boil or watching paint dry. Now it's just going by fast because their quality of life has improved so much. And that's my main goal for everyone, but it takes a while to get there.
It does, because I'm just now to a point where I don't even get on the scale.
Oh yeah, same here. My scale is collecting dust. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't. And and I've seen some
postings of people who, when they go to the doctor, like they refuse to get on the scale. They tell the doctor, no, you don't need to know my weight. I don't know about that, but I mean, I don't pay attention to that number like I used to at all.
So, uh, um, the misconception there that I really hope that people realize is the doctor should respect if they don't want to look at the weight, but the doctor still needs to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's
Like,
medication that they're prescribing. They need to know your weight for that purpose.
right, right.
But they shouldn't. Um, yeah, and that's what I say. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Mhm.
I don't want to know because it gets in my head. And this is the first time, like I'm losing weight now in a healthier way. And part of it is
Good.
I'm deconstructing the rules I had on food.
Hmm.
Because I absolutely, and you talk about that too. You talk about, the rules that you have on food, and I can't have this, or, can't have fruit. You can only have so much fruit. And I just really have the mindset is I'm going to enjoy my food. I'm just not going to have a big plate of it. I'm going to have a
Yeah,
smaller
right.
portion of it. If I want fruit, I'm going to have fruit. It's God made. It's got to be good for you, right? But if I sat all day and ate fruit, that's not good for me. So there's got to be a balance in everything, right?
Yeah, like I make chicken parm, I make penne alla vodka, but like with my vodka sauce, if I douse it in heavy cream and cheese, then I'm going to take away the joy out of it because I'm going to feel sick.
Mm-hmm. Too
And a lot of
rich.
people do that for the sake of indulging, like, oh, I'm just treating myself, but you're not treating yourself if it's taken away from the meal and the enjoyment.
Right.
So
Right.
there needs to be a line of not only how you feel in the moment, but how you're going to feel.
Yes. Just like overeating. Yeah.
Yeah, or drinking or anything else that could be
Right.
done in excess. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So tell me, tell us a little bit, as much as you want to share, about
Hmm.
your weight experience. Because I know you've mentioned in your videos that your weight fluctuated over the years, and you've come to a place where you're able to manage it obviously much better and help others.
Yeah. So I had a very hard time realizing that I was a product of my environment. Um, my leanest was when I worked with a bunch of bodybuilding competitors and I was consistently shamed. I mean, they're my friends. I never set up the boundaries. I always want to make that clear. I never set up the
Mm,
boundaries or made it seem like it was an issue. I kind of laughed with them.
yeah.
But due to the constant shaming, I developed many eating disorders. I chewed and spit. I had exercise bulimia. I did just whatever I could to be as lean as possible. And I kind of thought that that was the norm. Like, as long as I looked a certain way, I provided value for my job title. And as long
Mm,
as I had this value, then I would get my business. And I would assume that a lot of other people wanted similar goals. Now, I would always hear them out. I would never assume and make them do something they didn't want to do. But in the back of my mind, I always thought, like, oh, everyone wants to be this lean. Everyone wants to look this good. And little did I know that the mature, confident people who didn't care about that, they weren't lazy, they evolved.
mm-hmm,
And they just wanted to get strong. They wanted to focus on their heart health. They wanted to get off their medication. They didn't care if they were ripped or not.
mm-hmm,
And it started to get me to kind of just think twice about my overall approach. So, because I was so dependent on validation from my body, I was massively deprived. And because I was massively deprived, I would look forward to the weekends when I would drink a lot with my friends and
mm-hmm.
eat without a problem. And this would be like an all weekend thing. And then I would show up for myself the next week harder because of what I did during the weekend.
Yeah.
And this was just a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very unhappy, but I thought I was happy, but I didn't realize that all the times that I thought I was happy, I was probably just drunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized, like, as someone who has been doing this for the majority of his life, I can't keep going back and forth like this.
And it had
And
to
I
be
just,
had to physically be taking a toll on you as well, though, right? Because
yeah, yeah, like, my
it's
hormones were
out
a
of
mess.
balance.
Yeah. So my hormones were a mess. I was sleeping like crap. My testosterone was down. My cortisol was up.
Mhm.
I did a stupid HCG diet once that completely messed with my hormones. Yep. And
Mhm.
I ate 600 calories a day for 21 days. And I lost about 28 pounds, but I gained it back in like 2 months.
Yeah.
And like I remember, like I couldn't even eat during my engagement party because I was on the diet.
Mhm.
So I felt like I know better than this, and I was
Mhm.
just in such a rush to expedite the process because again, I felt like my own walking billboard.
Right.
So it's not just body dysmorphia as just a regular man. It's I'm a fitness professional.
Mhm.
So it's times 10. Like not only do I have to be lean, like I have to be way above average.
Mhm.
So I was very desperate to get there. And it took a long time for me to just finally get to the comfort level that you see me broadcasting all over social media. And this is fairly recent. This was like 2021 that I
Mm.
really had the like mental shift.
Mhm.
Now, now I was getting better. I wasn't like from A to Z. Like I was on my way there, but it really finally just clicked after a bachelor party that I had in Cabo where I was just a mess and I just said enough was enough.
Mhm.
And I just turned everything around and I started being authentic and it started showing up for me. And when I started realizing that I was being accepted being authentic, I was like, oh, so it doesn't matter if I'm ripped.
Right.
So now because that pressure is off, I'm becoming in the best shape I've ever been in because
Mhm.
now it's fun to show up and it's not resentful.
Yeah. Exactly. It's authentic. There's such a difference when you're authentic.
Yeah,
The- And there's so much freedom in being authentic, as crazy as that sounds. I did,
absolutely.
you remind me, I did a particular diet. I'm not going to say the name on the podcast.
Hmm.
Very restrictive,
Hmm.
very restrictive. And actually, when I signed up for this stupid diet, I knew it was a bad diet. I knew
Okay.
it. And it went against everything that I believed in. And I stuck to this stupid diet for a solid 6 months. But the result of it was almost catastrophic because part of it was I couldn't exercise.
Okay.
And that's
Yep.
my number one stress reliever, is especially some kind of cardio. That is just my number one way. When I'm stressed, that's what I want to do. So I couldn't
Sure.
exercise, which was completely against everything that I believe in. It was a very restricted diet. It was a processed food, which I'm against. And so the
Hmm.
whole time I was hungry, angry. I had digestive issues.
Hmm.
And then the topper of it all is because I wasn't exercising, I lost my muscle, right? And this is just before my wedding. I did this for my wedding. I did this for my wedding
Right.
because I was
Right.
going to lose that weight, just like you,
Hmm.
right? And what ended up happening is my husband and I were taking dance lessons, and because we were going to do a dance at our wedding, of course. And my
Great.
back really started bothering me. And it got to the point where he couldn't even dip me because it was just like, oh, no, you can't do that.
Sure. Sure.
Long story short, my back was so tore up because I lost all the muscle, and I already had a back issue, but because before I was strong and all of my muscles and everything held everything in place, and then I wasn't exercising and I lost all that, it was just, yeah, it was
Sure.
two surgeries on my back to get it back to
Wow.
normal. And I had an awesome doctor, and I'm doing really well.
Great.
It's interesting. I remember after I did the diet and I went through all that, I remember I had a conversation with my then therapist, and she says, "Oh, so you did the fuck me diet?"
Mm.
And I said, "Oh." It hit me as soon as she said it. It was harsh, right? But as soon as she said it, I knew exactly what she was saying. And I
Yeah.
was punishing myself. I was absolutely punishing myself. I didn't see, now, when I look back on it, I can see my attitude and I can see the progression of it. But when I didn't see how much I was doing that until she said that. And then I look back on it, and that's exactly what I did.
Sure.
And I paid the price.
You you put your quality of life on hold for certain results.
It was all about results. That was the
Yeah, of
only thing.
course.
I looked at the scale every single week. I reported my weight every week. I was obsessed with it. It was, yeah. Um, that's why now I really look for balance in everything I do, in my exercise, in my eating, what I eat, how much I eat, um, my quality of sleep, all of that. It's a balancing act.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so you did a video the other day that no matter what you did, you were getting bullied. When you were out of shape, you were getting bullied. When you got ripped, you were getting bullied. Like it didn't matter what you were doing. And
Yeah.
so how do you help? This is the question I want. How do you help your clients manage that? And who do you,
Uh,
is it more men that get bullied or more women?
anyone,
Anyone?
anyone. Yeah. You hear about it more with women because they'll speak out against it more. Men will not really repeat it too much because they're ashamed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it just, you have to remind yourself that it's more about them than it is about you, especially if it's just out of nowhere. Like, and you have to know that their opinion of you does not matter. It's the people who are closest to you in your life who see you, not your size, not what you not what you like provide, but just your overall just core of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
When I see anyone, regardless of their body size, I always see them. I never
Right.
go like, oh wow, look at that stomach, or like look at like those arms. Like it never even pops in my head. Now, if someone like let's say gained a ton of weight out of nowhere, I'm gonna notice, but
Mm-hmm.
my feelings of them like won't change, or I won't
Right.
have any judgments. They're a human being probably going through something. And I just can't stand the ignorance of people just thinking that every obese person is just sitting there stuffing
Mm-hmm.
their face.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. There's
There are
always
some,
something. There are some, but there's
yeah,
always something behind it. It's
right,
not, yeah.
right. There are some obese people who don't take responsibility, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but there are
Mm-hmm.
some thin people who don't take responsibility for their health either.
Right. Right.
So I don't really care what their body composition is. And they just put all of them in a box. And I say all the time on my posts, it'd be one thing if all you people shaming were only talking about morbidly obese people, but you get
Mm-hmm.
shamed the second you don't have a visible muscle definition anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I I once had this client who she's thin, she was in great shape, but her friends were thinner and she just couldn't stand it, right? Like
Yeah.
she's just like, I don't understand it. Like, why can't I just like get like smaller? And I tried to explain to her, like, you are eating too few calories. I can't keep training you like I'm training you if
Oh,
you're going to do this. Like, you have
yeah.
to recover. You're doing great. Stop comparing yourself. Like, it just, I'm, I'm never going to be thin. I'm going to be lean. I'm going to be muscular, but I'm always going to be big.
Mm-hmm.
This is my stature. This is who I
Right.
am.
Right. Your structure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's just different people who can't fathom that. They think, oh, I want to look like this person in this magazine. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
you're not going to. I'm so sorry. Unless you completely alter your life. And even then, genetics and hormones aside, this is significantly touched up and airbrushed and like everything.
Right. Right. Right.
So it's just such an unrealistic standard. And there's so many people who say, "Oh, you're just like anti six pack, this, that," and it's like, no. I've worked with hundreds of jacked colleagues in the past who don't make it their entire identity, who don't hold that
Mm.
pressure, who don't hold that pressure with their clients. It's something they value, and as long as they're humble about it, go right ahead, no
Mm-hmm.
problem. It's the people who are like, if you if you're not like this, then you're lazy, then you're not
Mm-hmm.
committed, then you're not disciplined, then you don't care about your health. That's nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you just said something a minute ago. So when you said identity, because that's
Hmm.
really big when it's not your identity. And
Yeah,
that kind of is where I think you cross over, is when you start making anything, the way you look, the way you dress, the way, whatever, your materialistic things, whatever. When you make that your identity, um, there's going to be problems.
yeah. It's just for other people. You're doing nothing for you,
Right. Right.
and that's not authentic. You're doing what you think people want,
Yeah.
and most people, they might like look at it like window shopping, like ooh ah for a bit, but they won't really value it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting here thinking about this, and I don't know why this is coming to my mind right now, but I think about like some of the times when I've lost weight.
Hmm.
I think about, I was going over the motivation, and there is a motivation there. It sounds kind of weird, but kind of a people pleasing. And it's
Yeah,
so that I
of
would be
course.
accepted, right? So that I would be accepted. But then I got a whole nother set of attention that I didn't really particularly want, right? So then I would turn around and end up putting weight back on. But I can honestly say that there is a time that I did that. I didn't do it for my health. I did it because I wanted to be thin, and I didn't want to be picked on. I didn't want anybody to say anything negative
Sure.
about me. And now my mindset is, I used to say, oh, thin and, get toned. And now I want to be strong and healthy. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Strong and healthy for me.
Yes. And I will say, if if someone keeps that up, like I want to be thin, I want to be lean, I want to be sexy so that I'm desired, so that I'm not picked on, so this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep working towards that. And anything less than perfect is just despicable in your eyes.
Yeah.
That insecurity is just going to seep through your pores,
Mm-hmm.
and you might as well be overweight
Mm-hmm.
because that's how you're going to guard yourself.
Right. And you are going to have another set of problems. And it's not, it's not getting thin and all of a sudden, oh, my life is great. If you don't work on this and you don't work on this, those same issues are going to still be there. You're just going to be in a thinner body.
Yeah,
And self-destruction
absolutely.
happens. That's when self-destruction happens. Self-sabotage, self-destruction, it gets out of balance.
I'll never forget. It was 3 months into dating Erica. We went to Punta Cana together, and I was really lean, like barely any fat. And I remember us taking a picture on the beach, and I sent it to like my bodybuilding friend, like, dude, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? How do I fix this? And he's like, you look great. Just enjoy your trip with your girlfriend. And like, I was 40 pounds less than I am now, and
Wow.
I wouldn't even think of doing that now. So that's proof that it doesn't matter how lean you are. Your perception is your perception. And if you
Mm-hmm.
condition yourself to find your perceived flaws first, then there's no amount of body fat that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
enough for you to love yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you can't just show up for yourself when it's convenient. You have to do it when it's hard. Of course, in ideal situations, you're going to be motivated to do it. You have to do it when you're really down on your luck and the only person you can count on is you, and you have to bring yourself up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know. And then there's that period of time I would remember between when I started my diet and when I would get close to my weight or whatever. I still wouldn't see myself as thin. Like I would look in the mirror, I would walk in the
Mm-hmm,
bathroom and look in the mirror and be shocked, like,
mm-hmm.
and because I still had that, it was the craziest thing. And it would take me a long time. I mean, I'm through that now, but it seems like I never quite, and that's why my weight, I think, fluctuated, because I never got the mindset of being healthy and strong. It was, I don't know. It's interesting because I'm sitting here thinking about all this stuff as we're having this conversation, and it's just bringing up stuff that I didn't even realize until we're talking about this. But yeah, that's it's crazy. But in a better place now for sure. That is
Good.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, since I got to this place, like in 2021, my weight has not fluctuated like it was throughout my career. Um, yes, I'm heavier than I was, but I stayed a certain amount of my body is now like keeping on a certain level of consistency with the body composition
Mm-hmm.
because I don't really care if I'm adding muscle as my body fat is going up or vice versa.
Right.
Whereas in the past, I would either lose a ton of muscle from not eating or gain a bunch of fat from the drinking and back and
Oh.
forth and back and
Mm-hmm.
forth. And now, since I haven't binged in over almost 2 years or done anything to sort of negatively affect my health, it just I haven't fluctuated at all.
And here's the question.
Mhm.
I'm sure you can tell the difference in how you feel. Never mind how you
Yeah.
look, right?
Mhm.
That is a thing that I didn't tune into before either, that I'm
Okay.
definitely tuning into now. That is a really good, I think, gauge for your body. Like sometimes, like we eat something that's a little too rich or something, and we feel it. We know, okay, but you have to be in tune to your
Oh
body
yeah.
and be very aware when you're eating it, because that is something I am absolutely implementing right now. I am not only that, but I'm enjoying my food. And if
Yes,
I
exactly.
start to eat something and I don't like it, I'm not going to eat it because
Yeah.
I don't, and yeah, I don't want the calories in me, but I'm not enjoying it. So I'm not going to eat it. Where before it's, clean the plate off. And so I'm spending time enjoying what I'm eating, not eating what I don't enjoy, and paying attention to how I feel while I'm eating it and after.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge gauge for you, right? That alone, if you just stop, I'm going to probably end up saying this in every single podcast, but I really believe that the number one way to heal or grow is to have self-awareness. You have to have self-awareness. That is
Of course.
absolute key.
Yeah. Um, I swore to myself that I would never have that feeling anymore of like when you walk away from a table and you feel like you have to like unbutton your pants and lie down.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like that's torture. And I don't
And
know
it goes on
why
for hours.
and I don't know why I would willingly do that. So I don't let that happen. Um, Drinking, I definitely now realize when like, okay, I either need to slow down or switch to water.
Okay. So you do still drink. You
Yeah.
are being very careful about managing it. All right. Me
Yeah, yeah,
too.
because
Me too.
I love the social aspect of it.
Sure.
I'm Italian, we love wine,
Yes.
but it, just like food, I don't want to feel like crap,
Right. Right.
right? Like my days of like multiple shots are over, or like
Oh.
chugging a beer are like over, right?
Mm-mm.
And I also don't eat fried foods or fast food. It has nothing to do with the calories. I'll have equal calories in like pizza or like cookies, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about foods that make me feel a certain way.
Right.
And
Right.
I'd rather enjoy it. And if I
Right.
want to get a burger, I'd like to make the burger myself.
Right.
And if I want to make some sort of fried chicken, I'd rather air fry it myself without all the oil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot of people think that like I'm just being like a strict nutrition person. It's like, no, I
Mm-mm.
just refuse to feel bad when I eat. And I found out what makes me feel bad.
And that's the other thing. Everybody's journey is different. I feel like
Mhm.
everybody's journey is custom. And
Mhm.
something that I can eat or drink that doesn't bother me may bother you. It doesn't, it's okay
Yeah.
for me to eat that. It's okay for me to drink that. And I don't allow anyone to have comments about what I eat or drink anymore. And I don't have people really in my life that do that. It was definitely something that had happened in the past. And then like you said, the shame thing happens. And so, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
people comment all the time when I eat who just like don't get it. Like if I'm at a party and God forbid I have, I don't know, pizza, macaroni salad, like cookies, like, oh, is
Mm-hmm.
it like a cheat day? I'm like, no, it's just a regular day. It was kind of weird that you
Yeah,
had to say something.
that's true.
Well,
And bring up about the cheat day, because you did do a video on that and I loved it.
yeah, yeah, I hate cheat days.
Yeah.
It's completely making you seem like two different people. So
Mm-hmm.
either you go over the top and have like gravy cheese fries with like a side of like French toast with cream and chocolate chips, or you have like a kale salad. Like, why? How do you expect to be sustainable if you look at health like that, or if you look at nutrition like that.
And you're saying
Like,
like good and bad, like looking at food as good and bad as well,
yeah,
too,
right,
right?
right. And also you could overeat good food as well,
Yes.
right? It's
Yes.
just with less nutrient dense food that's packed with a lot more fat and everything, it's easier in smaller portions. I understand that, but you could very well eat clean and still gain weight.
Yeah.
And it's just a certain stigma that people create that keeps them from any sort of sustainable way of living when it comes to food.
Right. Right. It really comes down to balance. And that is something that I am bringing in my life. And that's a daily, balance in everything, right? And it is a daily task to have balance. And you also have to give yourself a lot of grace, because I had a really ugly voice in my head for many, many
Mm-hmm.
years that really, quite honestly, tortured me
Mm-hmm.
and shut my voice down and kept me from being healthy. And so, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that exactly, but it's all about balance. We have
Mm-hmm.
to have balance in our life, and it does change every day. Every day you have to watch what you're doing and watch your balance in everything you do. And it's rewarding. It keeps you from doing this.
Yes.
you
Yes,
know,
absolutely.
you know.
I tell people all the time, if you truly want help with balance when it comes to nutrition, like learn how to cook. Learn how
Yes.
to cook and make your lean meats delicious, not just like broiled to
Yeah.
death
Yeah.
and just like not steamed green beans. Like slice up some like almonds and like add some salt, pepper, garlic. Like just
Season it.
yeah, like it just so many people think like health is suffering, health is just eating for fuel and stuff like that. And it's like
hmm
maybe your health, but not mine.
Yeah, I want to enjoy my food. I want to enjoy my food.
Yeah.
And one thing that my husband and I have been starting to do, and it's actually really fun, is we're finding dishes that we like, and then
Hmm.
we're learning to make them a little healthier.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
maybe not put butter in there, whatever. And that's kind of fun. It's kind of fun and experimenting, and I'll make something and then we'll tweak the recipe a little bit more until we get it dialed in.
Yeah. So how I feel about either changing a recipe or like substitutions, like for instance, I'm never going to have a pizza substitute or a bagel substitute.
Yeah, I agree.
Never. I'm I'm
The
having the
real
real
deal.
thing. But for instance, a barbecue sauce that we always get is G. Hughes sugar-free barbecue sauce that
Hmm.
tastes great. And we use it all the time because it doesn't take away from the quality, in my opinion.
Right, right.
And when I make pasta, let's say twice a week, I use the Banza chickpea pasta or the Barilla protein pasta.
That's the one I
Because
use.
again, because I don't think it takes away from it.
Hmm.
And there's a time and place for substitutions and stuff like that. And there's a time where when you know that you like the indulgence of the original, like my
Hmm.
chocolate chip cookies are full sugar, full fat cookies. I don't like make the protein ones, but I also don't have five of them. We
Right,
have we
right.
have maybe depending how big they are, either half or one whenever we want one. We
Hmm.
don't have two or three, four, right? So
Right. I have
that's
my
where
favorite M&M cookies that I make.
mhm,
I love these M&M cookies. I only make them once a year at Christmas,
right.
and I enjoy them.
Yeah. Yeah. But like if you were to have like five of them and then you would be like resentful. Then
Oh
you're like,
yeah.
oh, like why did I do that? And I tell my clients all the time, if you can stand by it with your
Hmm.
decision. But if you're going to regret it, don't do it.
No,
Something
no.
something's making you regret it, so there's a reason.
Here's a question, and this is something that I kind of struggle with.
Hmm.
So I'm right on board with you about the eating. What do you do when you go out? Because
Hmm.
this happens to me sometimes, and I just can't eat as much. But the person that I'm with is kind of pushing more food on me and getting dessert, not pushing it on me. I shouldn't say it like that, but they're getting dessert and they're encouraging me to eat it. And even though they know that I don't eat that, And so I get uncomfortable and I take a bite and then I don't enjoy it.
Right.
I
So
mean, and I
you
know
need to
it's
be
stinking
firmer
up,
with your
right?
no.
Yeah.
You have to be
I'm
firmer. Yeah.
easier said than done.
I
Because food
know.
is
I
such a
know.
show, it's such a social thing, right?
A lot of people try to pull you in because they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have it alone.
Mm-hmm. I
Right.
know. I know.
And again, that's about them and that's their problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you go back to the people pleasing. You don't have to do that.
It totally is. It totally is.
You make a strict boundary.
Yeah, I know. I knew when I was saying that, I knew exactly what I need to do. It just thought maybe it'd have some other kind of golden nugget for me.
No, no, I
But
mean, like you can imagine if someone was trying to force me, I'd be like, oh, fuck you. I already said no twice.
you would for sure. I could see that.
Yeah. In no way, I explain this all the time. In no way is dessert like an obligatory thing. You don't have to get it. And I only get if I really want dessert, let's say a place is like known for it. Like when we went to Paris, I really wanted like the creme brulee and everything,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So like then I'll have it and I'll enjoy it. But most places, I'm good. I don't want a ton of sugar before I go home and go to bed, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm mindful of what the occasion is and what the restaurant is. So if I'm going to like an indulgent like steakhouse where I know that I'm going to be getting a big ribeye, maybe some mashed potatoes and greens and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot of calories. So I'm mindful of my
Mm-hmm.
calories leading up to it. I get my
Mm-hmm.
workout done that day. I don't really do appetizers. I don't really go heavy with the
Yeah.
alcohol. And I strategically make sure that I don't walk away from that table feeling sick.
Mm-hmm.
And if your body is saying no, then you stand by that.
And the thing that I'm sitting here thinking of too is that when you take those restrictions off of food, like you were saying, like you went to Paris, you wanted a creme brulee. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in all reality, you could have had a creme brulee every single day when you were in Paris, right? But you didn't because you were satisfied with that one. And there's not a rule on it,
Right.
right? So when you start taking those rules and those restrictions, all of a sudden you don't want it as much as you thought you did, right?
Sure. I did have some sort of like we were only there. It was the last 4 days of our honeymoon. We did a month in Europe.
Wow.
So yeah, it was Greece, Italy, Amsterdam, and Paris. So like I made sure to try the croissants. I made sure to try the creme brulee. I made sure
Right.
to try other things. But again, I always thought in the back of my mind, I'm not going to walk away from this feeling sick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the question you really should have in your head because you're right. And you have to take the time and have the self-awareness and pay attention when you're sitting there eating and enjoying it and afterwards. And it is a process and but it can be done. And you're right. When you go into the meal planning, you can enjoy the full meal and walk away not feeling miserable and sick, anymore. I take if we go to a restaurant and I get a meal, most of the time I'm bringing stuff home. Most of the time. I
Hmm.
can't sit and eat the whole thing. And I choose not to. I probably could in some cases, but I choose not
Hmm.
to.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I finished everything.
You probably,
I
I mean, yeah. Same with my husband.
I'll I just won't like over order,
Right.
but you better believe, yeah, my entree is gonna be finished.
I love that. Well, yeah, for most men, I think that's true for sure. I'm either taking mine home or giving it to my husband to finish for me. Well, so James, tell us how the audience could get a hold of you if they wanted to coach with you.
Sure. So I make it very simple. Either my Instagram, James underscore Capola, or on TikTok it's J Capola Fit Coach. And I have the link right in my bio. I would recommend you going to my website to make sure that you learn about my new training philosophy and that it's what you want. I
Mhm.
turn away a lot of people
Mm.
in a kind way because they just can't get past the quick fix mentality, and I'm just not the person for them. I'm not judging them for it,
Right.
but there are plenty of people more well suited for that. I
Hmm.
can't, in good conscience, give you an extreme diet, give you an extreme workout plan. It's a
Yeah,
very one on one, personalized, comprehensive approach.
that's good. Awesome.
And once you read my website and learn about me, and
Watch your
I'm,
videos. You'll learn a
yep,
lot, seriously.
then you just fill out my application and I'll reach out to you to schedule a consultation call.
Great. Well, thank you again so much for being here. This has been great. And you've really made me think a lot, which is
Well,
good.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And it was a pleasure. And if you ever have any questions or anything you need, please don't hesitate.
Definitely. I'll shoot you a DM. Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.